What's this video all about? Well, it's about looping. This really doesn't pertain to any particular language, but a few of my examples are done in Java. So why use looping in your computer programs? Well, if making a decision makes the computer seem intelligent, looping makes them efficient and worthwhile. Could you imagine, assuming you know what an if statement is and how to use one, using only those in your computer program? What if you needed to repeat a task a million times until a condition changed? It'd be almost impossible to do that. So this is where looping comes in as a benefit to the user. Now that we covered that, what are some important aspects of looping? What are the few different types of loops? And also, what are some of the problems they pose? Some of the important aspects include controlling the repetitions using a counter or sentinel value, using control variables which must be initialized, a test of some kind against a loop control variable, and an action resulting in a repetition of the loop, basically entering the body of the loop. What are the different types of loops? Well, you have the while loop, you have the do while loop, and you have the for loop. And lastly, some of the dangers that loops pose include not having the loop work at all, or never exiting the loop, hence the term infinite loop. So those are some important things about loops. Here are some examples. First we're going to look at this definite loop, which basically just runs for a period of time until a condition changes. The difference between this and an indefinite loop is that in an indefinite loop you don't have a predetermined amount of times that the loop is going to run. Typically in the indefinite loops you see like a question asking the user, do they want to continue, something like that. I should also mention about this time that just like any of the structures that exist, whether it's an if statement or sequential structure or any other type of structure, these can be nested, and they can be nested with other structures, if statements, what have you. Here's a picture of a do-while loop. The difference between a do-while loop and a regular loop is that regardless of what we're testing against, it's going to do something at least once, as opposed to the while loop where you may never even enter the loop. Lastly, we have a for loop. Basically what a for loop is kind of an all-in-one package. It initializes the control variable, it determines the amount of time that you're going to run the loop, and it also increments. Incrementing is a big aspect to looping, because if you can't increment the loop, or if you can't change some type of a value, like in the control variable or the sentinel value, you may never leave the actual loop. Thank you for watching my video on looping.